I'm trying to make a waves now. Money, 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 money makes the world go round. I need money, 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 money. Money got me feeling down. They said go and chase the dreams, but never told me that I have to wake up.
Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to another Money Conversations with Mars. I am your host, Marshall Weeks, also known as Money Mars, the financial creative. I don't know if you follow me on social media. I enjoy creating different things around the financial theme, believe in providing practical tips, information, money mindset quotes. If you're not following me, you should follow me on Instagram _money things from Mars, and of course, Facebook. Marshall Weeks MBA. So great to be back here with you. We started a new school year for those of us who have children. So I started out talking about, how to shop for back to school. We discussed setting up accounts for our dependents, college accounts, or just general accounts for them to have to accumulate money. So by the time they're 18, 19, 20, we'll have a nice nest egg for them. Today, I want to talk about adults with children and without children. We're going to talk about retirement. How many of us think that it's way down the road and it's nothing we need to think about? I'm sure there are some people out there who think that. Then there are those of us who are a little closer. We can kind of peek around the corner, and we're thinking about it a lot. Then there are those who have financial planners. They know how much they need to save. They're saving each month. They have investment accounts. They have stocks, they have bonds, they have mutual funds. They have, a kitty here, a kitty here, and they're all set. They've purchased their insurances. They've planned their long-term care out. I mean, all they're doing is waiting for it to come and enjoying life until it happens. And to you, I say kudos. Very good way to get ahead of the game. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight for a few minutes, is how to get ahead of the game. We should be starting now. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made, and that is only sticking to a 401k and then using the money from the 401k and not letting it sit. How many of us out there have borrowed from our 401k? Now, there are emergencies that may arise and you may use your 401k. I remember being told, you use your 401k to purchase a house or make a down payment. However, as I have continued to learn and follow my own path into financial literacy, becoming licensed, and, just really absorbing all the information there is out there. There's so much information. We're tripping over information. Honestly, there is no excuse to not have just a little bit of an idea of what you're supposed to do, because there are so many articles giving you step by step by step instructions. So I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but it's out there. But now I know that there are other ways to put money away besides using your 401k money. Those of us who have the 401k and we receive a match from our employer, we want to use that 401k to get that free money. And then as soon as we're vested, the advice that I was given personally is then to move it over into an IRA, a Roth IRA, opposed to the traditional. And we talked about that, the Roth and then the IRA, because they have, they're similar, but they're differences, the tax benefits, the amounts. And that's something that we can go over again on another night, because I really want to stick to some practical tips about retirement and just pushing home the point that we should be planning, we should be thinking about it, and we should start young. And how do we start young? Especially if we are my age, in the 40s, we're teaching our kids and we're going to start it for them, right? That's why we talked about those different accounts a couple of weeks ago. So we have knowledge of that, so we can give them the head start that some of us did not receive. I went to school with kids whose grandparents had set accounts up for them. So when it was time for graduation, their money was in place. Some of them did not have to get loans. Some of them had to finish high school or finish college, my apologies, in order to have access to that money, or be at a certain age to get the money. So this is not something that happens in a faraway land. This is something that's happening now, today. It's been happening. I am here to bridge the gap with the information so we can do the same, because money knows no color. Money knows no color. When you have it, you can get in the game. And if you want more of it, there is plenty of opportunity to do so, folks. We are living in a time that I did not have Uber and the DoorDash and the Instacart and all those things. Shoot, we didn't even have a cell phone. And you have young people whose eyes and ears are open, and they are making money at a younger age and doing it easily. We were always taught to work hard, but there's a thing about working smarter. And there's also a thing about educating ourselves so that we can make certain decisions to set ourselves up to bring in the income that we need, even doing things on the side. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to quit your job, even though that is something that you may hear plenty of. Quit your job, don't build someone else's dream. But let me tell you, every business owner who hires employees, they are hiring people to help them build their dreams. So we may not build this person's dreams. We are going to hire people to help us build ours. So we are all helping each other get through life. I don't think there is a such thing as not helping somebody else build their dreams, right? Because when you start a company, you have vendors, you have partners, and you're going to invest in this person's company because you may need their product and need their service. So you're helping to build their dreams. So this is how I like to look at this, because sometimes that can come across a little snarky, that type of language. Let's just say we live in America where capitalism is king, and we're all out here trying to make our best life. As believers, we are hearing from the Holy Spirit on which way to go, what to do, who to talk to, who to partner with. And we're all coming together with our collective knowledge, skills, talents, and abilities given to us by God. And we're going to help each other get to where we need to go. Let's just leave it at that, right? Because again, if you are a business owner, yes, you're building your dreams, but unless you have all the services, all the talents, you know how to do everything, you're going to invest in a coach. That's their business. You're helping them build their dreams, right? You're going to get some internet service from somebody's company. You're helping that family build their dreams, or that trust, or whatever you want to call it. So we're all out here together. There's enough for everybody to go. And, we just got to help each other invest in our friends' companies, or just people we know in our communities, because collectively, that's how we bring up a community, and that community feeds into the world at large, right? And so if everyone just does their part, we can make the world a better place. But it starts with us in the mirror, those of us who are believers, making sure we have that connection so we know what to do. So I'm going to get off of that, and let's share the screen, and let's get into, I'm only going to do 6 today, and I'll do the other 7 next week. You all have heard me talk about MarketWatch. I think MarketWatch is a great website. You do not have to be a financial expert to read MarketWatch. They keep up with all the things that are going on in the world. If you're one person who likes to watch the stock market, they have plenty of articles about that. If you're just into personal finance, there's a section for that. If you want to know how the headlines are affecting the economy, they have articles about that. They also have sections where regular old people like me or you can write in get a response from that blogger, author, editor, whomever, who, whatever they're calling themselves. I think it's just a great website. And you've heard me talk about NerdWallet is another. That's a great website for the everyday person. So you do not have to be an expert in order to manipulate these sites. I think they're written clearly. The articles are kind of to the point, and they suggest other articles to read. You may run across text with a hyperlink that may take you to a definition. NerdWallet is very good for that. So you can read, look up things, you may read something else to help you understand. And, if you want to take the time out to do so, you can come out with a pretty good understanding. So those of you who are looking for a good financial person to help you really sit down and plan your retirement, you can go in with some questions and not go in completely blind. Like, you never, ever, ever should go into anything completely blind. And again, we have the World Wide Web at our fingertips. So there isn't really an excuse for anyone ever going into anything completely blind, And if you don't like to read, there is TikTok and Instagram. Now, my disclaimer and warning for that is you always want to make sure people speaking have licenses. It's one thing to get out information, but when it comes down to getting recommendations, you want to make sure the person is licensed, because that is the downside of the World Wide Web and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all these other sites. You have people rolling out of bed and you don't know where their knowledge is from. You don't know their educational background. You do not know their work experience, and you only know from what you see. Do a little digging, ask around, get some references. And, don't go in anywhere blind, but don't just take somebody's word for it. Even myself, I read up on things, and I fact check people. I do. I'm not too big of a fan of TikTok. Nothing wrong with it. I just prefer Instagram, but I'm more of a reader and I'm looking for a certain point of view. So I'm really not looking to be necessarily entertained. I want to read something and I want to hear from someone who really has that expertise. So if I have a question, they can really help me. And we all know people, like, I have people who call me up. They know that I know my insurance. They know that I can create a budget. They know that I can do the financial analysis. I can tell them, okay, this is what we need to do to save money each month for retirement. But am I the person to come where you say, hey, should I invest in this or that? That's not me. I can put you in touch. I have partners who that's what they do. But it is important for you, especially as we go into talking about retirement, is to get someone who can tell you when to move your money, what you should be looking at, how much you should put here, how much, your caps, what your limits are, invest in a Roth or invest in a traditional IRA, because it's different for everybody. So that is the other thing about taking advice, from these 30-second clips and 1-minute clips from TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, or, I don't even know what the limit on the videos really are, but you have to be careful, because what they're saying, it may sound good and it could be really good advice, but you want to go and you want to read about it and make sure that applies to you and your situation, right? Money is life, life is money. You may be a family of 6, or you may be a person with no dependents. So the advice that one would give the family of 6 is going to be different from what they give to a single person. Does that make sense? So let's just rule of thumb, do your research. And just like in the Bible, we need some witnesses, right? So if you read John such and such, so-and-so, you need to find 2 or 3 other scriptures so you can get the correct understanding. And then you may want to pull out a couple other reference books to make sure you understand the text, above, below, you know what I mean? Not just like plucking out one verse and now I got a conviction. No, what does this mean? What is the context? Who wrote this? What was going on? That is important. So, if you dig out a financial book that was written 25 years ago, you do know that it's going to be different now. And these are the things that I had to learn in my journey, in order for me to be good at what I do. All right. So I've talked enough about that, but it's just important. It's just important. I'm going to share my screen and let's get into some retirement talk. So you already heard me say, folks, that start early. You want to start early. So we don't want to wait until you're 10 years away, because what if you haven't been saving any money, right? We want to tell our young people, if we have young people in our lives, we may mentor them at church. You may lead a youth Bible study. You may have nieces or nephews. Tell them, hey, start putting some money aside. Right now you don't have a lot of bills coming in. So you can put aside, you may be living with parents, living in a dorm, and you may have a part-time job. Put $100 away a month, just simple things like that, that can help. So if you want to go ahead and read all 13 must-dos for your pre-retirement checklist, go to MarketWatch. Look up Robert Powell's retirement portfolio. It was published April 20th of this year, and it was updated like a couple of days afterwards. And I do appreciate how even on NerdWallet and MarketWatch, how they always go up and update it with information, because things change. The author may have left out something, or he may have learned something, right? People to me who give the best advice, financial advice, or any type of advice, to me, are lifelong learners. They are aware of updates and things of that nature. Same as, if you have a tax person, we have a tax accountant. He reads the updates. You don't want a tax person who does not know what's going on. If laws have been written, updated, and you don't have time to keep up with it, I don't have time to keep up with it, but you want to hire someone that does. Okay. So updates, very, very important. All right. So first thing, what's your expected starting date for retirement? So, how old are you? What age do you want to retire? That's something to think about. You may want to be practical, but then it's okay to dream, because you never know. You get in front of a good financial person and they may be able to say, okay, you want to retire in 20 years, or if you're 25 years old and you want to stop working at 40, they could give you a plan for that. The question then would be, are you going to follow the plan? So what's your expected starting date for your retirement? Okay. We're going to estimate retirement income and expenses. That is very important. Now, you may be thinking, okay, I know people right now in their 20s and 30s, and some of them, they're my clients, who they are expecting to pay their home off in the next 10 years. So they already know that they can scratch off having a mortgage. Estimate that, pull up your mortgage statement if you have it. See what your payoff is. If you were to pay it off tomorrow, they typically have like a little button you click and you can see that amount. Also, look to see how many years you have left on your mortgage. You may be in the position where you want to start doubling up. If you have the extra money, some people do, or maybe making a payment and a half. It just depends on what your debt is. So if you don't have a lot of debt and you're anticipating retiring early, that may be something that you want to put your attention on. So when you're making your estimated income and expenses list, you want to cross that off. It's great to find that out now. What can I pay off, or what can I plan to pay off over time, so that I have that. All right. Next, what we want to do is plan for long-term care costs. Now, we don't ever want to think that we're going to be sick in our later years. However, it's also okay to plan for that. Here's an example. My mom, I remember her telling us that she purchased cancer insurance. We were still in high school. Unfortunately, my mom did succumb to the complications of ovarian cancer, but we were like grown. This was like a couple decades later. But she purchased her, it's the insurance with the duck. I can't remember the name of it, but she had that in place and a couple of things in place just in case. Was she planning on getting cancer? No, she wasn't. However, she set it up so she wouldn't have to worry about it. So plan for long-term care costs. And I'm not saying plan to get cancer or be thinking about that, but there are other things you may want to look at. How much would a medical plan cost after I'm working? Because remember, when I stop working, for those of us who are not law enforcement or maybe federal law enforcement, I do know that they do get to keep some benefits. But for, your corporate person on average, they do not keep many benefits unless you are in the C-suite, CEO, CFO, COO, CIO, those folks. They may have a little more benefits than your regular supervisor, manager, subordinate, or what have you. So plan ahead for your medical. Manage and mitigate retirement risks. Inflation. These are things that a good financial planner can help you do. So when it's time to calculate how much money you need a month, they're going to take into consideration inflation because that's a real thing. I do have an agent in my virtual office. Virtual offices are so much better, right? So in my virtual office, and she became licensed to offset the inflation because she's awesome, by the way. She can already see 10, 20, 25 years down the road. She can see how inflation is kind of eating away at her money a little bit. So she decided to go get licensed, be one of my agents so she can make some money to offset that, which is awesome. Again, thinking ahead. All right. Calculate how much you need to accumulate. So that's the financial analysis. I do that for my clients. We sit down and we go through everything. How much money they're putting away a month right now. How much is in the 401k or the TP. Goodness, what is it? The federal government has a TP, and I'm forgetting that other letter. But we calculate how much money they have set aside. Do you have an emergency fund? And then we look at their bills, how long it's going to take to pay off this credit card, that credit card. How much are they putting away for college if they have dependents? How much longer, will it take to pay the home off? And we look at all of these things so we can calculate how much money they're going to need. And not just how much money they're going to need, how much do you want? That is something that I just want to impress upon you. It is okay to dream. And when you start to look at your retirement early, there is more room to dream. Sometimes I have sat before people who are 55 years old. They want to retire in 10 years. Now they're talking like all I need is if I can just have. That sounds different from the couple I sat down with the other weekend who are in their 30s. They're dreaming. Oh, I want to have. Oh, we want to do. It was a completely different conversation. I was excited when I got off the phone with them. I was kind of depressed when I got off the phone with this 55-year-old person because no one has brought this to them. And so I was the first one talking about this. Now, are they a professional? Yes, they are. Do they have an employer? Obviously. Do they have the 401k? Yes, they do. But they're not putting money in the 401k. They have missed almost 20 years of matches. You know what I mean? Pass me the Kleenex. Oh my goodness. So that was not, it was an informative call for them, but it was really like getting off the call in 911, oh my goodness, what have I been doing for the last 20 years type of call. I don't like those calls. Because again, it kind of makes me sad because, you have to be real with the person. And it's like, okay, you have nothing saved. You have 10 years. And if you have a lot of debt, oh my goodness, how are you going to be able to save? So we need to look at getting you some more income. What do you know how to do? Can you tutor? Can you know what I mean? So we're going to calculate how much money we need to accumulate because there may be room for you to allow your gifts and talents to make room for you to bring in some more income. All right. And then we want to adjust our portfolio. Again, that's when the professional comes into play so they can help you. You may max out the 401k. All right. So now it's time to move it over. Depending on your age, you may want to use another investment vehicle. All right. So as always, bringing all of this to you because you should prosper. Please set up some time with me, www.calendly.com, chat with Mars, so you can speak with me about your money matters. Let's talk about briefly the Fab Five coming to you Monday through Friday, 7 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will talk about Ilyasa, who will be here tomorrow midday, and then look out for Regina, who will be here tomorrow at 8. Always nice to spend some time with you. I will see you next week on Monday.
Trying to make a ways now. Money, 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 money.